Yo, what's good, my people? It's Messiah. And in today's one, we're going to talk about Deuteronomy 28 and how those curses apply to African Americans. But y'all already know how we start off all these lessons, my people. Let's slide up to that like and tap that hole like that there. Now let's get to it. Alright, starting the video, fam. I want to tell all y'all that it's not going to take me no longer than 5 minutes to unpack this shit. And I also want to say shalom and no disrespect to no black Jews or Hebrews. But I'm going to get on these Israelites, because them niggas pseudo. Now, for anyone reading the Bible in proper context, we should all know that Deuteronomy 28 was like a warning to the Israelites because they were coming directly out of slavery in Egypt. And coming out of slavery in Egypt, this is where the commandments were given. Now, I want you all to pay attention to verse 15 when it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord, all of these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Now the trickology that the Hebrews, Israelites like to use is they like to focus on verses 64 and verses 6 to 8. "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one ends of the earth to the other." In verse 6 to 8, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships." And how they play on the unintelligible reader is that they'll jump from a literal context to an allegorical context. Like, for example, they'll say, Egypt doesn't really mean Egypt, but it means Egypt as a place of bondage. But no, that wasn't an allegorical or figurative Egypt. It was actually the real Egypt because the Israelites were just coming out of Egypt. That's like if you want to give a warning to African Americans about misbehaving, you would say, we'll take you back to Jim Crow. We'll take you back to slave times. Because we were just coming fresh out of that. It's known to us and we know what the hardships that we went through. So we will behave. You get what I'm saying? This is the point of the verse. And it's well known that people in the East used the Nile River to travel all around the known world. And this is why the Suez Canal was created. Come on, man. And I mean, it's written all throughout the Bible. The Lord God said, Israel is a wicked and rebellious nation. They do not honor me, they follow idols. So, as it came to pass, the book has in multiple places where the king of Assyria came against Israel and took them back to Assyria and scattered them in different areas that was populated by the Assyrians. I mean, here it is, right here, different verses. Pul, king of Assyria, came against the land. Pekah, king of Israel, came and captured. I mean, God of Israel stirred up the spirit. I mean, if y'all need help envisioning that in your mind or whatever, take a look at the photo at the bottom. Yeah, that's how they were scattered all over the Assyrian Empire. So, all of this nonsense here, stop it, bro. Just stop it. Come on, man. And I mean, y'all have this thing with this definition of ready. See right here where it says red, ready, euphemism for bloody. Listen, when the book says someone's hair was ready, like Esau, this is what it means. When it says someone is white and ready, this is what it means. And this is how they describe King Solomon. Remember the verse in Songs of Solomon, verse 10? My beloved is white and ready. But see the picture of this Palestinian guy with this reddish hair all over his body? This is how Esau. And this can very well be how Jacob looked. But just because Esau had ruddy hair and a light complexion doesn't mean that his brother had to be an African American or a sub-Saharan African. And this very well could be how Jacob looked. Just because his brother was ruddy and had red hair doesn't mean that Jacob had to be an African American. It doesn't allude anywhere in the book to the fact that he was from Saba or Cush. Now, if it would have said Cush, it would have been more of a reason to think this, but there's also 2 Cushes in the Bible. One is in Assyria, but that's an entirely different conversation. Also, if anyone tells you that the Edomites are Europeans, they are a blatant lie. do not believe that shit, fam, because clearly the kingdom of Edom was in southern Arabia. But I mean, they'll even go so far as to jump in the book of Obadiah and start talking about thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high. I mean, they skip right past the pride of thine heart, which means that they're figuratively talking about a person's pride being high and that they not living in the dwells of no cliffs or no rocks for real. Verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, still talking about that pride. But what do? They take that eagle in that verse and compare it to the eagle for the American symbol and say, oh, they were talking about America in that verse. I mean, y'all literally letting people convert y'all to a religion that have no reading context. I mean, they clearly don't see that this verse is figurative and talking about a person's pride, but they compare the eagle to the one on the American flag and told you that this verse was a prophecy of slavery. Come on, bro. I mean, it's funny because it's like the only time people want to pick up this book, especially black folks, is if they want to use it to be racist. Y'all ignore all the morals, the commandments, the teachings that's in the book, but when it comes to try to exert some type of mystical dominance over white people, now you want to pick it up and put yourself in the book. Bruh, the only part of that book that talk about white people, bruh, is the New Testament, the Romans. Bruh, outside of that, ain't nobody on that, bruh. So, I mean, bruh, this is literally my teachings, bruh. This is what I do. But y'all be on that bullshit, bruh. Get left behind if you want to. It's a new day, man. Last Messiah. 100.